Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. There is some dramatic news going on in the chess world recently, and it is a debate going on between two American top super grandmasters, Hikaru Nakamura and Fabiano Caruana. Their debate's main topic is about cheating in online chess. And definitely, cheating is a phenomenon that happens a lot when you're playing online chess. No matter in bullet games or blitz games or even rapid games, it all happens, and it really affects the fairness of online chess. This debate, it all started when Fabiano, he posted a tweet saying that there's just so many cheating happening in Untitled Tuesday, which is a weekly tournament held on chess.com and has a really reasonable price. Lots of tile players are participating in it, but of course, cheating is still happening. And Fabiano is also kind of disappointed by the anti-cheating system because it is just simply not strong enough, and that, in his opinion, there are still way too many cheating going on. And if he said that, the actions are not taken quickly and effectively by chess.com, then he himself might just be stopping to play in these tournaments and altogether. And then Hikaru, he fired back by updating a pretty long video saying that Fabiano is kind of a little bit paranoid and confusing the rapid improvement in chess skills of these young generations and confusing their improvement with cheating. So he said that, for example, young players from Uzbekistan, Iran, Turkey, Russia, they are all improving rapidly, and already a lot of them have the strength to beat top players. And he also said that Fabiano might be a little bit for example, double standards whatsoever. And then Fabiano, he responded again saying that it is his own choice to either decide to play in these tournaments or not, but in the very end, he really wants chess.com to be more strict on these things, and especially on the anti-cheating system, so that less players will be cheating and more cheating will be detected by the system. And also, the FIDE's CEO joined in with this debate and kind of supported Caruana because definitely cheating is something that not only him but also many other players are worried about and wants to get it fixed. So basically, this is what this whole debate is about. I mean, I couldn't say who's right or who's wrong because all of them have their own opinions. But of course, cheating is definitely, in general, a very common and a really bad thing that is happening a lot, in online chess. So definitely, I also wish that it can be fixed. So for the future, I wish it could get less. All right. So talking about Fabiano, he not only had this debate going on so recently, but also for him himself, he is participating in an offline tournament, a board face-to-face tournament on the physical chessboard, and he is participating in the 2025 the Grand Chess Tour, the Sinquefield Cup, which is a really strong event as well. And we also have the current world chess champion Gukesh Damraju participating, Alireza Firouzja, Nodirbek, Abdusattorov, Levon Aronian, and many more grandmasters participating. And for Fabiano, he is a really strong player, as you guys know. And in this tournament, of course, there's no cheating going on, and everyone is playing fairly, that's for sure. He himself, so far, there's 5 rounds already being played, and he is having a really nice tournament. He is in the lead, and today I'm going to show you guys one of the games that he had played against Nodirbek Abdusattorov, with the black pieces. This is round 4, and round 4, pretty important round actually. Nodirbek is with the white pieces. Nodirbek so far is kind of struggling, but definitely still he is a really strong grandmaster and one of the uprising stars in Uzbekistan. And, well, let's see how this game went. So here, Nodirbek starts with c4, Fabiano plays e6, and the opening is quite normal. It's the Queen's Gambit declined, the exchange variation, bishop g5, a quite positional option here by Nodirbek, bishop e7, e3, h6, bishop goes back, and everything here is quite theory. But after bishop g4, which is a little bit sided line, more common would be to either go c6 or short castle or knight bd7, which are some of the more common options here for the black pieces. And also to note that the Sinquefield Cup is a classical event, so of course both players have a lot of time to prepare for their openings and to think during the game as well. But here Fabiano decides to go for the move bishop g4, and here we have the move queen c2, short castle, h3, kicking the bishop back to e6, knight f3, and here knight e8, bishop g3 back, and bishop d6. So as you guys can see by looking at the time usage of these two players, definitely they are still in an area where they are quite familiar to, especially for Fabiano, since he already got extra 3 minutes on the clock when it had started. So definitely he prepared this, and for Nodirbek, he also played quite fast, bishop d3, and replied pretty accurate. Bishop takes g3, and already here Fabiano is the first to start thinking. And bishop d3 is, well, not the most accurate move here, definitely. And for Fabiano, he spent about 7 minutes thinking and played the move bishop g3. Other options would be like to go knight c6 or queen e7 to just keep on developing. But bishop g3 is also a pretty nice move here by black. F takes g3, and kind of getting white into a really ugly pawn structure here, but white's compensation for that is his lead in development, that's for sure. Fabiano here develops his knight g4. For Nodirbek, his king so far is quite safe in the center of the board, and he has two options to either go long castle or short castle, and right now he is already launching an attack on the king side. And the question for black is, how is Fabiano gonna develop all of these pieces? And also the e6 bishop is quite useless on e6, being blocked by its own 2 pawns as well as its knight. But for white, probably white will be looking for some e4 breakthroughs in the future. Fabiano here plays the move c5, going straight forward for an attack immediately, although it might be slightly more positional and more accurate for him to play knight d6 to get his pieces to activity as fast as possible. But instead he played c5, which also gives the question back to Nodirbek. Nodirbek here, immediately replied with a pretty inaccurate move, long castle. Because already Nodirbek had played the move g4, and definitely it means that he is going to attack on the king side, and for any normal human being, you just want to get your king to the other side of the board, swing your rook over to the king side, and keep the attack going. But actually, interestingly here, white's best move is to go short castle instead. Even though white's pawns are kind of floating a little bit, but it's impossible for black to really have any breakthroughs on the king side. And the pawn structure is quite nice for white because the pawn also defends each other and controls some important light squares. But this is a move that is quite hard to spot, like short castle. You need to evaluate the position in a very accurate way. You just need to see a lot of variations for the future of this position. So instead, Nodirbek plays the more reasonable looking move, long castle. Fabiano plays rook c8, and here g5 was played by Nodirbek. Looks quite scary for black because white is already the first one to start the attack and quite much faster than black's attack. C takes d4, e takes d4. Nodirbek seems pretty safe here, right? But Fabiano is now showing some techniques. Not this move, h takes g5. hg5 is a move that is the second best move here, but awarded a question mark by the computer. But actually, I think in human eyes, it is really reasonable for black, and for white, it is also probably the very first move to consider. But the best move here is quite hard to see, b5. This is the move suggested by the computer, but I think it's really hard to see, and I don't think it's Fabiano see it. Maybe he did, but it's quite hard to calculate and evaluate what is really going on after it. And instead, he played the more obvious move, hg5, even though given a question mark, but I think it clearly is not what it seems in both players' eyes. g4 was played. g6, bishop takes g6, Nodirbek playing really aggressive in this game actually, and starting to sacrifice his bishop for a couple of pawns and trying to rip open black's king side. But it turned out to be a little bit not enough. Fabiano here plays the move queen f6, a pretty nice move. Note that you cannot play f takes g6, because simply you will just fall for white's trick. Queen takes g6 will happen. You have to play knight g7, or else you'll lose the bishop on e6. But then after knight takes g5, threatening queen h7 mate on 1. Let's say black goes rook f6. But after check, king goes there, queen h8, and you block with the bishop. But simply knight h7, if you want, wins the rook and also wins the game, because black's king is just way too weak and the pawns can just be starting to push down the board. The rooks can be activated, and even though when you count the pieces, the material, black is the side who is up in material, but in this case, it's not that important after all. So here, black does need to be careful about f takes g6 and the follow-up white's idea. So here, Fabiano, great technique shown by him, played the move queen f6, threatening to take the bishop right now. Bishop h7 check, king goes up to g7. If you play king h8, which is the other option, you'll get into big trouble now, because after rook df1, eyeing the queen up on the f file and threatening to move away this knight and have some deadly discovered attack going on. And now you still have to play king g7 because you need to defend the queen. The point being that after knight e5, for example, the queen goes back and the king defends everything. Whereas if it stays on h8, these pawns and also the g6 square might be loose, and it might be possible for white to invade. So that is why instead black goes king g7 immediately, and here Nodirbek plays the move rook df1 anyways. But here Fabiano replied extremely well and accurate with the move b5. h4 was played. Here by Nodirbek, he got quite attracted or quite too focused on his attack on the king side, but simply undervalued black's attack on the queen side. So here after h4, again, really scary for black, because it is unstoppable for white to play h5, and if black were to take, then g5 will be coming, and black's king is just king side is just going to fall apart completely. But here, Fabiano, just calm down. He is not in a hurry to do anything on the king side, but he starts his own attack on the queen side and plays the move b4. A really calm reply, and it looks like after hg5, isn't white just winning, because the knight, the rooks are all eyeing towards the king, also the queen, the bishop, the pawns. But as for black, only a rook is eyeing the knight, the queen, the king. But it turns out that already it is enough. And here Fabiano played extremely accurate, first giving a check, king goes inside, and then takes the knight on c3, threatening some deadly ideas, like for example knight d6 and then just taking the pawn on b2. But of course it is still an equalized position if both sides played accurately here, and for Nodirbek it is his turn to go for the best move, or else he will reach a worse position. And here he kept on attacking on the king side, but with a wrong move, bishop f5, with the idea of maybe going rook h7 or taking, and then queen h7, even more deadly. The best move here, and the Spoiler alert, I kind of clicked the wrong one, but anyways, b takes c3, bishop f5 was played in the game, but knight h4 is the best move here with the idea of the knight going to f5. And if black were to take on g5, after knight f5, bishop takes, and at least at this position, even though white is down a piece, but I think white will have enough counterplay to at least hold a draw. Because already, after the move b takes c3 for black, black is up a piece, and it is not that easy for white to attack really after you calculate. And here, Nodirbek plays bishop f5, but simply undervaluing Fabiano's very next move, rook h8. A quiet move, a very defensive move, but it deceives the whole game and turns the table. And already right now, black is the side who is winning. You can even just see that by looking at the eval bar, and it is already leaning towards black's side a lot. Rook h8, preventing any rook h7 ideas, and also simply like offering a rook trade. Since black is up a piece, and also white doesn't really have enough compensation for that because white's pawn structure is really bad, and also the queen, the knight cannot really join the attack yet. So after the move rook h8, which is a move I think definitely Nodirbek has mislooked, he played the move rook takes, but after king takes, bishop takes e6, and then given a check on h1, Nodirbek is already down a full knight, and maybe still it looks like there's some counterplay for him. After king g7, the rook gets to slide into the position with rook h7, but after the very accurate king move, king f8, don't go king g8, because then it will be GG's after queen g6 there, king f8, and after check, and then simply you lose the queen on f4. So don't do that. And the other only move, king f8, well, the only move in this position, king f8, and Nodirbek kept on trying with the move g6. Maybe there's some g7 ideas, or like, well, actually rook f7 at this point. But after the move knight df6, blockading the rook f7 fork, not fork, but yeah, kind of like that, attacking the king and the queen at the same time. And now rook f7 doesn't work because after king g8, you can't really take the queen. And for like the other pieces, it is impossible for them to swing over to the king side because the queen is being blocked by its own pawns, and this queen on f4 is doing an excellent job controlling the h2 square as well, preventing the queen from ever going there to activate. And with that, after the move knight df6, here Nodirbek resigned the game and Fabiano won this game 4 out of 3, a really nice win for him. And a beautiful game, really. He found this move rook h8 here, but also from the beginning, even though he made a mistake here and Nodirbek somehow has a slight initiative, but after a couple of moves, first he played king g7 and then b5, b4, queen f4, b takes, just a couple of brilliant moves and leading to this position. So yeah, he is having a great tournament so far, and as you can see here by the results, he is in first place. Well, I think the time I'm recording this video, the 5th game will be playing. And right now, 4 games have been played. He had a nearly perfect score, 3 out of 4, 2 draws, 2 wins, not bad. And right now in a half-point lead. So wish him good luck that he can keep on playing excellent games. And also for the debate that he had with Hikaru, I mean, they both had their own opinions, and definitely cheating is something that is happening a lot, so I don't think that he did anything wrong. So yeah, but anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video as well as this recap of this excellent and thrilling game by Fabiano. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.